Hello and welcome back for episode 6 of Game Audio Analysis. I had a lot of fun making that last episode, and I've actually gotten a lot of positive feedback as well. It's really inspired me to keep putting more effort into this series, so you can definitely expect more episodes in the future. Anyway, after I uploaded episode 5, two of my friends said, hey, it'd be really cool if you analyze a game's sound design in depth. And this idea really got me thinking. In the first 3 or 4 episodes, I generally analyze techniques that sound designers use in games to make the sound more immersive or effective or just capture players' attention. And while these are great talking points, there are only so many techniques out there, so I'd run out of content pretty quickly. But creating episodes about specific games provides me with virtually endless possibilities for future episodes. Seriously, all I have to do is pick one of the hundreds of thousands of games out there and talk about its sound design. The other thing I like is that these types of episodes can help people realize what makes a specific game sound so engaging. Why is it so effective? And it would have the added bonus of spotlighting games, sound designers, and developers. So shoutouts to Dan and Alex for giving me this great idea. Now, if you watched my last episode, you may remember that I mentioned the 2013 reboot of Killer Instinct. I explained the game's ultra combo system, and I glossed over some of the details that even make the game possible for blind players to enjoy. But the sound design of Killer Instinct is extremely intricate, especially for a fighting game. So today, we'll be taking a deeper dive into the sound of Killer Instinct 2013. Originally developed by Double Helix Games, the Killer Instinct reboot released on November 22, 2013 as a launch title for the Xbox One. The game was criticized for its lack of content, containing only 6 characters and receiving 2 more later that year, but it was highly praised for its game mechanics, amazing sound design, and overall hype. The game also had an incredible soundtrack composed by Mick Gordon. His music for Killer Instinct ranged from heavy metal to orchestral suites and even to electronic dance music. He even sprinkled in some instruments from some of the characters' home countries. The game has changed quite a bit since its initial release, with content continually being added through late 2017. Development of the game was handed to Iron Galaxy Studios after Season 1, since the original developers were bought by Amazon, and Microsoft saw that as a conflict of interest. Near the end of Season 2, Mick Gordon's workload became extremely busy with other games, resulting in his departure from Killer Instinct as well. Season 3's music was composed by a team of industrial musician Cell Dweller and game composer Atlas Plug. As of the release of this episode, Killer Instinct is available on Xbox One and PC. Additionally, its roster has expanded to 29 characters, including guest characters like Rash from Battletoads and the Arbiter from Halo. But through all of these changes, Killer Instinct has always maintained its attention to audio detail. Many fighting games utilize simple loops for their background music, having the same song play over and over again throughout a fight, but Killer Instinct decides to take an extra step. In episode 2, you may remember that we spoke about horizontal layering. This is effectively what Killer Instinct does for its music. There are multiple sections for each song that can be played during a fight. If you listen closely, you can hear the transitions from section to section during certain parts of a fight. Additionally, the music tends to duck down during certain key moments to get out of the way of certain sound effects for things like combo breakers and shadow moves. On top of this, there's a hidden section for each character's theme that serves as an Easter egg. If both players stand still for a while, the music will transition to a section that can only be heard through this method. These hidden sections are usually rearrangements of the character's original theme from the old Killer Instinct games, or a reimagining of the Killer Instinct main theme that fits this character's instrumentation. And what's even more fun is that players can unlock versions of the stages from the original arcade games to use during training mode, and these stages come with their original music as well. Even the game's menu music has horizontal layering. When you boot the game up, there's an intro section of the track, and when you jump in, then the guitars kick in, And if you do nothing for a while, even the menu has its own idle theme that is relaxed and calm. And of course, it's impossible to talk about Killer Instinct's music implementation without talking about ultra combos. I covered this in the last video, but I want to recap it a bit here as well. Still, feel free to go back and watch that after this. There are some other really great examples of game audio in that video. Ultra combos are essentially the finishing moves of Killer Instinct. You can only use them to end a match. Under the right circumstances, a player can start a combo and input a command. This will trigger a pre-canned sequence of attacks that the player's character will carry out on their own. As you can hear, the music stopped to sync up with the character's sequence of attacks. And each character's ultra combo has their own unique timing to the sequence, so doing another character's ultra on the same stage could have a pretty different rhythm to it. But what makes things really crazy is that the instrumentation changes based on what song is playing in the background of that fight. So if you do a character's ultra combo on a different stage, it'll have the same rhythm, but it can sound pretty different. A famous part of Killer Instinct, even since the arcade days, has been its announcer. To honor the franchise's legacy, Microsoft reached out to Chris Sutherland, the game's original announcer from 1994. Sutherland agreed to record voice lines for the new title, and his original voice clips were even included as a classic announcer in the game's options menu. Killer Instinct also received another announcer near the end of Season 2. With the release of the character Arya, Iron Galaxy included a brand new announcer with the robotic character's voice. No matter which announcer you choose, each character's name can be heard when you select them. But if you listen closely, you'll also notice that each character has a unique identifying sound that plays afterward.
Fulgor. Saberwolf.
During gameplay, there are some clever implementation choices as well. Sound effects and voice clips from characters can be heard in the left or right channel, based on which side of the screen they're on. This is subtle during gameplay, but it makes sense to our ears for sounds to be heard from the direction of their source. On top of this, there are some attacks that move across the screen, like Fulgor's teleport and Jago's fireball. If you listen closely, you can actually hear the sound effects following these moves as they travel. Another helpful audio cue Killer Instinct provides is for the meters. Barring some character exceptions, there are 3 meters in Killer Instinct: Shadow, Instinct, and KV. When the Shadow or Instinct meter becomes full, they each emit a unique sound effect, notifying the player that they can use the respective abilities with them. The KV meter, on the other hand, is an indication of the game's combo limits. Unlike the other meters, the player wants to know when the KV meter is getting close to full. If this meter completely fills while performing a combo, the player's combo will end abruptly, and they'll miss out on potential damage. Because of this, the sound for the KV meter can be heard as it fills up, not when it reaches the end. Additionally, this sound increases in volume as the KV meter gets higher and higher. And if all of this wasn't enough, players can also find a fun little Easter egg when they pause the game. If you listen closely while scrolling through the menu options, you can actually hear the melody of Killer Instinct's main theme. There is a lot going on with Killer Instinct's sound design, and just hearing about it may sound overwhelming. But when you play the game, all of these moving parts come together as a glorious and hype-inducing package. I hope you've enjoyed this breakdown of one of my favorite games. It's an absolute joy to play and listen to, so I'd recommend checking it out. Please like, comment, and subscribe, as I'd love to hear what you thought of this video. And you can use the comments to let me know if there's a game you'd like me to cover in the next episode. Until then, I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time.